So what is it that bringing mobiles into this adds? Well, I want to flag that this is already a misleading title, because it may be that, and this is, I think, the question I want to end with, it may be that mobiles are not adding to this, it may be that mobiles are transforming this. But for the moment, what is it that's new in bringing this onto mobiles? Well, in general, social networks stabilize identity. They give us a place that is ours, that we can identify as representing us. They're, in some sense, our body in the world of the internet. And of course, these social spaces give us some variety of tools and functionality, many of which we already had outside of the social network. We already had mail and chat and all that outside of the social network. So what is it that the mobile adds to this, besides the fact that the objects are just so cool? Why, they make them now that you can take that one and put it into a special backpack and carry it with you wherever you go. So other than the sheer niceness of the objects, what do they add? Well, obviously they're global. They're not global in the sense that everybody on the globe has one, but a steadily increasing and impressive percentage of the planet's population now is, in fact, within reach. It's lots and lots of people. So global overstates it, but it's the right idea. Second of all, obviously, you take this with you wherever you go. You have this connected device where, of course, you can receive phone calls, but also you are connected to your social network in other ways as well, more persistent ways. So everywhere you go, you're going to take this thing with you, especially as they get smaller and smaller, which means that it changes from being an interruption. The telephone call is typical of the interruption. You're doing something else. Sorry, got ahead of myself. To become a presence, an ecosystem, an environment that's just there in the way that the real world is always there. Second of all, these devices enable you to engage in interstitial activity. This is a point last night from dinner from Professor Carlo Alberto Carnevale. And I think it's a very, very good point that it allows you can use this device where you would never, during times when you would never ever think to open up your laptop, try to get a Wi-Fi signal, and if it's with you, you take it out, you have it, and you check your email if you're an old man like me, or you check in with your social network if you are a younger person like some of you. This ability, the startup time is just about zero, and so you start using your time in some sense more efficiently, in another sense maybe more fragmentation of our time. This is also, the mobile phones bring a billing platform. Every activity can be metered and billed. There's a positive side to this, of course, that having this type of economics can encourage innovation by, it can make some activities available that you need to support financially. There's obviously also a danger of the negative side in which everything gets billed, every little transaction, so that while the interstitial costs go down, you can just take out your phone and start it up, and there's like no cost to doing that at all. You don't even think about it. You just walk down the street and take out your phone. If you think that, now when I start using my phone, everything I do is going to cost me money, then you've just raised the barrier to use as well. So we'll have to see how the economics of this works out. It also means that having these things with you is that, well, the marketers can message you because they know, these devices know where you are on the earth. You can be messaged more and more, but you can also know where your friends are. The device can know where all your friends are, what they're doing. And this is of huge importance. This is actually a vastly transformative possibility that's now becoming real. It can also know everything that the web knows about a place. With geocoding, as more information gets geocoded, as it gets tied to particular spots on the Earth, the device can aggregate all of that. Everything that's known by the web about a place can be and will be available to you. Increasingly, that's already the case. So we get a merging of the physical and the virtual, that we've been talking about for many years now, but is becoming quite real. This is not this type of merging where you overlay a social network onto a virtual world, and there's reasons to do that. These are not replacement technologies. This is all additive. But rather than overlaying a social network on top of a virtual world, we can overlay the social network on top of the real world. And so the real can be mediated by the social. This is vastly important. And yet, it's something that we've always done. We've always mediated the real through the social. We build things that reflect our interests and our needs. Places take on their meanings based upon our social involvement with them. So this is not radically new, but the ability to do this through a device that is in touch with everything that's been said and everybody who you know who might be talking, that is new. We've always mediated the real through the social, even a place like this, because once you know that this is, in fact, the wilderness where the Israelis wandered, the wilderness of Paran, then I have now just overlaid the social and historical on this for you, if you had not recognized this photo. We are always doing this, but now we can invest the real with the social with a degree of complexity never before possible. And, of course, our mobiles are becoming smart. They're increasingly becoming sensors, not, I want to be careful of my English here, not sensors in the sense of people who filter information, but sensing devices that are aware of their surroundings. They're aware of their place, but can be aware and increasingly will be aware of much more about the physical surroundings. This is an opportunity not only for the device to respond more intelligently to your needs, but the aggregation of these sensors, the worldwide sensing network that we are inadvertently creating, can have tremendously powerful capabilities for the good, conceivably for the bad as well, but we can just focus on the good. The amount, for example, the amount of traffic information or the amount of climate information that we will be able to gather and aggregate will be quite remarkable and presumably quite helpful. There are, of course, some limitations and issues. Mobiles have a tiny screen. They've gotten dramatically bigger in the past few years, bringing them all the way to small. That's an issue, but we're getting used to them, and clever user interfaces help us get around that. And as we design programs specifically for that screen, we get pretty good at using them. Another potential limitation is growth of proprietary systems. That inevitably causes a limitation to the growth, not only of those proprietary systems, but to the platform itself. And this is a problem, of course, not just for mobile social networks. It's a problem for all social networks, and it's a general problem for software in the world as well, which is why we've seen so much interest and progress in finding ways to enable programs to link, to share information, to share applications. That much of Web 2.0 is exactly about that. So it's a general problem, but it does apply to mobile social networks as well. Next is the functional fragmentation. I don't know how many more mailboxes I can handle. A lot of these products are doing similar things. We want to be able to not have to redo them. This is an inevitable problem of the success of the platform. This is what happens. Lots of new ideas, lots of new systems. There are obvious privacy implications. I don't think I need to say very much about them. I mean, the fact that you have all of this data potentially on your mobiles are easily lost. Most of us have lost more than one mobile at this point, and so there are that sort of privacy issues as well as the important systemic privacy issues. There's a really hard problem that we have not yet solved. I haven't seen a solution for it, which is built right into the nature of social networks. Real-world social networks, but especially social networks when they are brought onto an abstract platform, like a computer, whether it's a laptop or a mobile device, doesn't matter. Once we take our real-world social networks and we start trying to bring them into some sense of order so that we can move them onto a a computing platform, enormous problems arise that we simply haven't solved because they cannot be solved technically. They can only be solved by working through them socially. These are social issues.